but it is my great pleasure and honour to welcome our host to the stage, Emma Marcegaglia, who is, of course, President of Business Europe, busy receiving a kiss before she comes onto the stage. Very warm welcome, Emma, and over to you. Good morning, sir.
Well, Yuri Grillo arrived at the right moment, so I'm very happy about that, of course. Well, dear presidents, dear director general, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, it's really a great pleasure for me to welcome you all at this third Business Europe Day. President Tusk has kindly accepted to do the opening, as you said, but unfortunately he had changed his plan. He is abroad today to prepare the EU-Turkey summit on the 7th of March. These are, of course, compelling reasons. We understand very well what's going on now. But as you have seen, he wanted to make a video address to us, and we have just seen and heard his video address. So it's very clear to us, and also President Tusk underlined that Europe is going through extremely challenging times. Insufficient growth, high debt, persistent unemployment, mainly youth unemployment, an unprecedented influx of refugees and migrants, a crucial referendum about UK membership of the European Union, and the general rise in nationalism across Europe are a very dangerous combination, and we know this, we feel this. Political polarization, economic fragmentation, and security threats bring many uncertainties, and this is a great cause of concern for business. So first thing I want to say is that it is absolutely essential that we increase our efforts. Well, the situation, the economic situation in Europe is known. We know this very well because we live this every day in the market. Yes, growth did pick up a little bit in 2015, and we expect that the EU economic recovery will continue at a similar pace in 2016. So we are talking about 2% of GDP growth in the EU for 2016 and 1.8% in the euro area, despite recent volatility in the financial markets and the bleaker outlook for global growth, especially in emerging markets. But the overall picture that we see is that the EU remain weak, and we continue to lose ground in global markets, even compared with developed economies. For example, just take two numbers. EU growth averaged only 1% between 2011 and 2015, compared with 2% in the US and Canada, so the gap is still there. And also on unemployment. Yes, unemployment is picking up a little bit in 2015 and also in this first month of 2016, but it remains 2.5 million lower than pre-crisis level in the EU, whereas in the US, the US has managed to create 3 million of additional new jobs over the period. So we still are in a situation where we really need to make big efforts to enhance our competitiveness and our growth. So improving competitiveness is key. This is very important for us. A strong economy is an indispensable basis to tackle the different challenges facing us that I said before. Companies are an essential part of the solution. We know this and we always said this. We are, of course, willing to do our part of the job, but we need a supportive environment. It is therefore absolutely essential that the European Union and also all the member states step up their efforts to deliver structural reforms and to enhance competitiveness. Talking about structural reforms at the member state level, as you know, today we, as Business Europe, published our 2016 Reform Barometer. You have all received a summary of its main findings in the documentation given to you and also a full text in a USB stick. So you can see from our Business Europe Reform Barometer that only 20% of the 2015 country-specific recommendations were implemented satisfactorily according to our members. This is not enough, and we have also to say that the situation is worsening because last year and also the year before it was around 24–25%, now it's 20%. So this is not enough, and we really need big efforts on this part. So the experience of some countries such as Ireland, such as Italy, such as Latvia, such as Spain, shows that structural reforms can quickly reinforce business confidence as well as investment. But this can rapidly translate into growth and job creation. This is clear to us. However, in many member states, implementation remains too slow or reforms lack ambition. But there is something else I wanted to tell you, more worrying even in some of the countries which did what was necessary and started to see the benefits in terms of sounder economic condition. There is now a risk to see the clock turned back. Reverting to past mistakes, or even simply sending contradictory signals about future intention in the course, for example, of negotiation to form a government, can be extremely damaging for confidence. So we really urge all member states to go back to structural reforms, to implement structural reforms, and not to go back to past mistakes. This is our first point. But also, we need to enhance competitiveness also at European level, not only at member state levels, but also at European level. You all remember that we gathered all here together 2 years ago discussing the importance of industry as a growth driver for all sectors of the economy, not only for industry, but also for services. Our motto was, industry matters, and we were heard. A target of raising the percentage of GDP generated by industry to 20% by 2020, compared with around 15% today, was agreed. But where is the action plan to deliver the target? We don't see it. And why do we continue to be regularly confronted with unnecessarily harmful measures? Why a new revision of the Posting of Workers Directive? We don't need it. It's very dangerous from our point of view. Why unnecessary reduction of free allowances in the proposed reform of the EU emission trading scheme, when there are other less burdensome ways to deliver the goal? So this is one thing. But last year, as you know, we gathered to express our support to another very important point, which is the new European investment plan, and highlighted that there were many good reasons to invest in Europe. Our message was a message of confidence in Europe. Our motto was, invest in Europe because we believe in the future of our continent. We urge President Juncker to focus all EU measures to improve competitiveness in order to really improve the business environment. On this point, we have to say, partly heard. It's true, the Commission launched a number of very important and key strategies to improve the investment environment. The new single market strategy that we support, the digital single market strategy, which is very important, the capital market union, very important, the energy union, necessity, a series of tools to implement the better regulation agenda, including competitiveness proofing and opening towards the innovation principle, which for us is key. So we have seen some strategies going on. But still, so why does the EU continue to regularly propose measures hindering investment, such as the badly designed international investment core system, or legislation going beyond what is foreseen in the OECD agreement called BEPS on taxation? It seems to be aimed at freezing corporate tax at high levels, when we all know the overall tax burden in EU remains over 50% higher than in the US, and over 25% higher than in Japan. In a certain sense, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. So there is only one way to ensure that the European Fund for Strategic Investment deliver the extremely ambitious leverage between public and private investment, that is to improve the investment climate in Europe. So we really urge, as I said, member states to implement structural reforms, and we urge the Commission to implement and to enhance competitiveness with clear strategy that we support, as I said, but without design some directives or some laws that are against our level of competitiveness. But more competitiveness and better regulation are also key if we want to talk about another crucial issue for Europe, and also Mr. Tusk, of course, referred to that, I'm, of course, referring to the UK referendum. I'm absolutely convinced that Europe needs the UK and that the UK needs Europe. This is very clear to us. We were in favor of a rapid conclusion of an agreement at Council level because it was important to move the debate to where it should be, which is addressing the cost of not being in Europe and the benefits of being in the Union for the UK. So, of course, it is for the British people to decide, but the European business community is in favor and wants the UK to stay in the EU. And it's very clear for us that the European business stands ready to be very vocal on this point under the guidance and under the coordination of our friends of the CBI. So this is another point on which we will continue to be vocal and we will continue to work. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also say a few words on another key reason of concern, which is the asylum immigration crisis, and also, of course, on this, Mr. Tusk referred to it. Yes, the situation is complex, we understand this, and there are no quick fixes, but the decisions taken summit after summit are not fully implemented. A real European solution is urgently needed. Massive inflows of refugees and migrants and their concentration in a few EU member states are overwhelming for the countries concerned. This is clear, we see this every day. This challenge can only be mastered through common EU-wide solution. We need more Europe on this. We really need EU-wide solution, including several points. First of all, effective external EU borders control, a common list of safe countries, adequate support to EU countries which are the first entry point, and allocating the necessary means to Frontex, as well as international action to restore peace and stability in the countries of origin. Again, good cooperation with transit country, integration of legally staying persons if we look at our future our future wealth, and managing the return of illegal migrants. So I want to say this very clearly for Business Europe and for business companies and business, Schengen is a cornerstone of European integration and of the smooth functioning of our economy. Damaging or breaking this major achievement will seriously disrupt the value chain, will hinder the functioning of the single market, and will create a lot of problems to convergence process. And ultimately, this will destroy jobs and reduce wealth. So ensuring open borders and free movements in the Schengen area over the long term is a key priority for Business Europe and for European business. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will finish with this. Europe urgently needs sound economic policy, more unity, more solidarity, and more coherence in policy action. Now is really time for European solution. Member states acting separately will not be able to deliver the more secure and the more prosperous Europe that we all need and that we all aim for. Federica Mogherini yesterday at our dinner said something which I agree totally with. There are two kinds of European countries, the small ones and those which did not yet realize that they are small. Together, so we are stronger. Together, we can achieve a prosperity for our future generation. And Business Europe and the European business is ready to commit and is ready to work for our future generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Emma.